Welcome to the Reschecks blog brought to you by www.rescheck.info, the web's #1 blog and resource on Reschecks, manual J, heat loss, green homes, insulation, building components, and energy efficiency. Today we want to talk about a special subject, Reschecks and manual J's on historic homes or existing structures. Reschecks and manual J's on historic homes or existing structures. There are many instances when you might want to improve, enlarge, or enhance an existing structure, and many times it might end up being a historic home. Today on the Reschecks blog, as we attempt to cover all things related to Reschecks and manual J's, we will discuss considerations you might see on a historic home when you go to remodel and how it might affect your Rescheck or manual J. The first thing most people consider when updating a historic structure is maintaining the historic integrity of the home. One thing to be careful of is if your home is on the National Historic Register or something similar. I grew up in a home that was built in the early 1900s, and my parents were continually approached to have it added to the register. After reviewing the requirements for improvement and rebuilding after a disaster, they eventually said no thanks. One complication caused by this is that if your historic home was leaking energy, which many of them do, you might be limited on your options for walls, windows, doors when you go to renovate the home. Furthermore, in climate zones 5 and 6, it might be totally impossible without having special components custom made. Let's look at some ways you can revamp your historic structure without breaking the bank. One of the best ways to get the most R value per inch is a closed cell spray foam. This is coming very handy in uninsulated tight spaces, and it'll allow you to bring your renovation up to code easily. For windows, many styles and looks of the past are unavailable today, but there are a handful of historic wood window manufacturers that can build in many of the most modern energy-saving options to your window package. The main items to consider are the following when approaching your historic structure for renovation or addition. On a renovation of an existing structure, if you do not disturb or remove the existing insulation, then many times you'll not need to install new insulation. However, the technology in insulation has changed over the past century, and it will benefit your billfold greatly on your energy bills if you go ahead and bring it up to code now. For an addition that does not involve the existing historic insulation systems, you will need to go ahead and meet and exceed all the building codes on the addition only. This should be easy to do since you get to start from scratch. Overall, in regards to creating a manual J and a Rescheck on your historic structure, there are many things to consider when renovating or adding on to a historic structure. If you need some help planning ahead for your structure's needs, you can send us your plans to service@rescheck.info, and we'll be glad to handle the Rescheck and manual J for you and give you a good roadmap of the installation for your project. Thanks again for listening to the Reschecks blog. If you're ready to get your Rescheck started, simply go up to the Buy Now tab on www.rescheck.info. It's in the middle of the screen. Click Buy Now. Go to the bottom left hand of the screen. Click Buy Now one more time. It should be ready to go. Thanks again for listening. We'll holler at you later.